Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Sheng. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. On the weekend of April 8th, China sent warships and dozens of fighter jets toward Taiwan. The move was in reaction to a meeting between House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen in California the week before. According to Taiwan's Ministry of Defense, there were 8 warships and 42 planes detected near Taiwan, 29 of which flew across the middle line of the strait that separated it from the mainland China. The Taiwanese military said the missile defense systems were activated and the air and sea patrols had been sent to track the Chinese aircraft. On Friday, April 7th, China announced the sanctions against the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and a couple of think tanks. Therefore, no more China visit and no more Chinese food. Compared with a strong reaction to Pelosi's visit last August, when 5 days of live fire drills and missile tests completely encircled Taiwan, some less than 10 miles from its coast, last week's reaction was nothing. In this instance, the crossing of the median line by PLA aircraft was more symbolic and short-lived, and the warships have already returned. It differs from the confrontation between warships from both sides that occurred last year. Last year, there were 4 missiles crossing over the airspace above the main island of Taiwan, while this time no missiles have been launched. According to Lin Yi-yo, an assistant professor at the Tamkang University's Institute of International Affairs and Strategic Studies, April is a routine season for military exercises in the Chinese Communist Party. So this exercise has been packaged to demonstrate some targeting, but it's not as extensive as the previous exercise, which involved designated test zones and no-fly zones. As of now, no missiles have been fired and it's simply a routine joint maritime and air exercise. The Chinese Communist Party announced over the weekend that its large patrol fleet would conduct inspections in the Taiwan Strait. But netizens discovered that the CCP warships only circled near the Chinese coast before returning. Mainland Chinese media made grand announcements about their island circumventing military exercises, but in reality, it was far from Taiwan and mostly confined to the Chinese coast. The CCP military exercise pales in comparison to last year's military intimidation and threat. It appears more like a scripted performance for nationalist supporters or a display of President Xi Jinping's assertive stance. President Xi is reportedly dissatisfied and has responded accordingly. Why such a big shift in messaging? First, Tsai's decision to meet McCarthy in the US rather than Taipei is less of an affront and therefore requires less of a response. Second, with the pandemic coming to an end, China is keen to revitalize its economy. However, any escalation of military threats at this juncture would send a signal to the Asia-Pacific region that a war is looming. Such a situation could lead to other countries reassessing their relationships with China. A military conflict in the Taiwan Strait would not be confined to mainland China and Taiwan, but would carry regional or even global risk of widespread war involving multiple nations. This would undermine China's effort to restore its economy, as the stability is paramount for its current economic growth trajectory. President Xi Jinping may need to put aside his pride for the time being. Third, Taiwan's presidential election is fast approaching in January, and how to manage relations with China will dominate campaigning. Tsai is ineligible to stand for a 3rd term, but Beijing loathes her China-skeptic Democratic Progressive Party DPP, and rather see the pro-China nationalist KMT return to power instead. If Beijing takes any strong reaction based on past experience, it knows that it will only increase the chances of the DPP winning the election. Beijing has obviously learned from past lessons and become wiser. A March poll conducted by the Taiwan Public Opinion Foundation revealed that 78% of the island's residents identified themselves as Taiwanese rather than Chinese or of mixed heritage. However, concerns about the possibility of war with China are also high, and thus the issues of identity and security are intertwined. The KMT is expected to use the deteriorating cross-strait relations as leverage to persuade voters that they are better positioned to protect Taiwan's de facto independence. However, striking the right balance poses a challenge for the KMT, as it needs to convey that it can repair relations with China while also upholding Taiwan's de facto independence, cherish the democratic values and principles. In 2014, Taiwan witnessed the student-led Sunflower Movement, where protesters occupied the legislature for over 3 weeks in opposition to a trade deal brokered by then-President Ma, which they believed would result in excessive Chinese influence. On the streets of Taipei, over 100,000 demonstrators waved banners with slogans like "Save democracy, don't sell our country." The Sunflower Movement foreshadowed the DPP's victory in the 2016 elections, while mass protests in semi-autonomous Hong Kong against Beijing's erosion of freedoms played a role in reversing Tsai's declining approval rating and securing her re-election 4 years later. Currently, opinion polls show that the DPP and the KMT are in a close race. Although the DPP experienced a significant setback in the local elections held in November, however, cross-strait relations are not the only factor influencing the election, as concerns about the economy and the handling of the pandemic are also at the forefront of voters' minds. Tsai Ing-wen's recent transit visit to the US can be considered a success. She effectively portrayed Taiwan as a member of the free world, gaining sincere respect from Western countries for its economic, technological, and democratic achievements. The timing of her visit was well chosen. In contrast, during Chen Shui-bian's time, when he proposed that the US did not oppose Taiwan independence, it created difficulties for both China and the US, as Chen did not fully understand the US's principles of maintaining balance in the Taiwan Strait. Tsai Ing-wen's approach, on the other hand, is seen as more wise and pragmatic. She emphasizes that Taiwan has long been independent and that there is no need to declare independence again. Furthermore, the founding of Taiwan, Republic of China, predates the People's Republic of China by 38 years, and Taiwan is standing on a higher moral ground than CCP. There was also an interesting anecdote. China announced the sanctions against Taiwan's representative to the US, Xueyuan. However, the announcement from China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs is word for word identical to last year's release. This is an interesting phenomenon that could be interpreted in two ways. One possibility is that the Chinese Communist Party's foreign ministry has been sloppy in its work and has forgotten that Xueyuan was already sanctioned last year. The second possibility is that it was intentional, as a means to sending a specific message that the CCP hopes to calm the situation. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.